Hello people, welcome one and all to Jojo's Learning Club.
Hello guys, my name is Jojo Varghese and I will be the tutor for this educational channel Jojo's Learning Club. So today I will be discussing on ratios and proportions. So let's start. What are ratios? Ratio is the representation of one quantity to another quantity. So let's write with some examples. So let a quantity be A and another quantity be B. They are both quantities of the same kind. How can you represent in terms of ratios? You can represent it as A is to B. So representation of ratios is with double colons. So either you can represent it as A is to B, or you can also represent ratios in terms of fraction. That is A by B. Let's explore some more examples to understand more about what are ratios. So let's assume I have a workforce with 10 people. So in this, out of this 10 people, 6 are men and 4 are women. So what is the ratio of men is to women? So what is the ratio? There are 6 men and there are 4 women. And what is the ratio of next woman to men? So woman to men, it would be 4 is to 6. And what is the ratio of men is to workforce? So the men is 6 and the workforce has in total 10 people. So 6 is to 10. So this is how you represent ratios. And now let's take another example with a smoothie. So I have made a smoothie with apple and banana. Just assume it, yeah? Maybe not real. So apple is 300 ml and 700 ml. So apple content is 300 and banana content is 700 ml of a smoothie with 1 liter. So let's find out some problems. Ratio of apple is to banana in smoothie. What is the ratio of apple in it? 300 is to 700. So as I said, you can also write ratios in terms of its factorial representation. That is 300 by 700. Then you know that when you have a fraction, you can try to write it down in its smallest fraction possible. So both the zeros get cut down and you can simply write it as 3 is to 7. So the ratio of smoothie of the ratio of apple is to banana in the smoothie is 3 is to 7. Now let's write another ratio of apple in smoothie. So we know that the apple content is 300 ml and the total smoothie content is 1000 ml. So again you can make it into a smallest fraction possible. So it is nothing but 3 by 10. So the ratio of apple in smoothie is, the quantity of apple in smoothie is 3 by 10. And the ratio of banana in smoothie. Banana is how much? Again 700. So you can simply write it as 7 by 10. So from all this, what we can understand, ratios are nothing but it is a representation of one quantity and another quantity which are of the same kind. Okay, so that's all about ratios. And now also discuss about proportions. I will not be taking much on proportions for now because I will be discussing in more detail in other lectures. So just for the time being, I will give a small hint about proportions. So there are two types of proportions which you can say. There are direct proportion and inverse proportion. Direct proportion is nothing but when a quantity is proportion to another quantity. So what happens is when you increase that quantity, the other quantity also automatically get increased. For inverse proportion, when a quantity is increased, the other quantity gets decreased. So when a quantity is doubled, the other quantity gets halved. For the time being, you just have to know that all about proportions. On the coming lectures, I will be explaining more in detail about proportions using equations. So for your understanding, I have written here 4 problems by which you can get better understanding about ratios and proportions. So let's go directly to the problems. Okay, so let's start with the problem number A. So in this problem, let's read the question first. A wood piece of length 198 centimeters. So the total length of this wood piece is 198 centimeter. is cut into 3 pieces in the ratio 2 parts, 4 parts, 5 parts. So it is in the ratio 2:4:5. So let us represent that parts as 2 parts, 4 parts, 5 parts, and the total length is 198 centimeter. This is how the wood is cut down. So let's find the total number of parts of the wood. So 2 plus 4, 6, 6 plus 5, 11. So there are total 11 parts of the wood, and the length of the wood is 198 centimeter. So let's find the length of one part. Length of one part is nothing but 198 by 11, which is 18 centimeter. So when you get the value of one part, it's very easy to find the value of other parts. So for finding the value of the first part, 2 parts, they are having 2 parts. So 2 times 18, which is 36 centimeter. Again 4 parts, which is 4 times 18, which is 72 centimeter. And the last part is 5 parts. So which is 5 times 18, and it is 90 centimeter. So this is how you can find values or do calculations using ratios. So this is only one example, and now let's go to another example. So question number B. A gear wheel having 60 teeth is driven by a 25 teeth tooth. It's here 25 tooth gear wheel. Find the gear ratio. Gear ratio is always driven by driving. Let's write the same rule. Gear ratio is driven by driving. So from the figure, and also I have given a hint about that, when you have 2 gear wheels, a driver and a driven, so it's always gear ratio is driven by driving. So driven has how many teeth? 25 teeth. So 25 teeth by 60 teeth. So when you get a number like this, as in fractions, I have discussed in detail that about cancelling. So when you have a fraction, you have to try to make it into the smallest fraction possible. So 25 is to 12, so 25 is to 60. Now we know that both are multiples of 5. So you can cancel it down and write it over 5, and here over as 12. So the final representation would be 5 by 12, or the gear ratio is 5:12. So this is the answer for the problem number B. Now let's discuss C and D. So now let's discuss the problem number C. So let's read the question first. So an alloy is made up of 1.5:1 mass. So it's always in the ratio 1.5:1. How much A has to be added with 8 kilogram of B is to make. So A in the ratio A is to B, and it is made in the ratio 1.5:1. So these ratios, as I said, you can also represent it in terms of its fraction. So A is to B you can represent as A by B, and also 1.5 by 1. What you have to do now when you have such numbers to find the value of 1, and because B is given, so you just have to do cross multiplication. So A is equal to 1.5 times B, and also the value of B is already given. What is the value of B? Value of B is 8 kilogram. So 1.5 times 8, which is 12 kilogram. So the ratio of this alloy is 12:8. That is 12 by 8. When you write into the smallest fractions, you can write it as 3 by 2 or 1.5:1. This I did just to make you understand. So the final answer is just we have to find here A, and the value is 12 kilogram. So that's all about the problem number C. And now let's discuss about the problem number. If 3 people can complete a task in 7 hours, how long it will take 6 people to complete the same task, assuming the rate of work remains constant. Let's recollect something about direct and inverse proportion. So what is a direct proportion? When a quantity is increased, the other quantity also get increased. What is inverse proportion? When a quantity is increased, the other quantity gets decreased, or when a quantity is decreased, the other quantity increases. So this is what inverse proportion is. There are 3 people and there are 7 hours they require. When the number of people increases, the working hour reduces. Now come to this problem. There are 3 people, 7 hours. What is the total working hours? 7 times 3, that is 21 hours. So 21 hours are required for 3 people to complete the task in 7 hours. So the total working hours are 21 hours. Now the same task 6 people are going to do. So how long they have to do, or how many hours they have to work to complete the task. So the task is completed with 21 hours, and now there are 6 people. So you can write it as 21 hours by 6 people. That is 21 by 6, and as I said, it's possible. So let's write it over here 2, and this is divided by 7. So it's 7 by 2, which is 3.5:1. These are the hours. So 3.5 hours, or you can simply write it as 3 hours 30 minutes. I hope you all understood the topic on ratio and proportion, and my next topic would be on decimals. So let's see you over there.